Hi kids, this is Ivan. You know, I've been talking a lot about NPCs lately, so I figured I'd talk about something really closely related, and that's monsters. Now, certainly in D&D, monsters are a huge part of the game. But even if you play another role-playing game that doesn't have quite the same amount of that sort of stuff in it, there's a good chance that you're going to have something in there that's a little inhuman, a little monstrous, something weird that just is out of the ordinary. And we all know what the problem is. Sooner or later, in any RPG, and especially in D&D, the players are going to know just as much about the monsters as the DM does. And this kind of blows for everybody. As a DM, it's tougher to surprise people. And as a player, you kind of lose that sense of wonder and, oh man, what is this? And surprise and fear and all this good stuff that's supposed to happen in the game, where you just really don't know what's going on, and you're trying anything you can think of to save your butt. And so, that's kind of an unfortunate side effect about just learning the game. Now, it's comical when you read in the old first edition DM guide now, where Gary kind of tells DMs to forbid their players from buying the DM guide and the monster manual. And you're thinking, geez, one adult's going to tell another grown-up, you can't buy this book? But I understand the reason for that, because certainly once you've learned all this other stuff as a player, it kind of ruins part of the game for you. It just, the sense of mystery is gone and has vanished. In my Pathfinder game, certainly our DM is not going to forbid us from buying the Pathfinder bestiary, but he does have a rule that you cannot bring it to game. And, I fully support that. I don't want to be looking up these stats. I just want to see this thing that's spectral, and I don't know what the heck it is, and what are we going to do? Because to me, that's a little bit more fun. Now, certainly, you can promise yourself, I've done, known these monsters for 30-some-odd years, and you can promise yourself, yeah, I'm going to play a first-level character, so I'm not going to metagame. I'm going to, act as if, my fighter, Corbin Dallas, I really named the fighter Corbin Dallas, doesn't know what's going on. But I'll tell you what, I'll be honest. When I see a troll, what am I thinking? I'm thinking 66 hit dice. I'm thinking he's got armor class 5. He regenerates 3 hit points per round. He can only be killed by fire and acid, and I better kill him because he does 5 to 8 damage with each claw and 2 to 12 damage with his mouth. So before the DM can say roll for initiative, I'm grabbing a torch and oil. Okay? That's just being honest. Now, what I do in a lot of ways in my game is to treat this wonderful book. There it is, from 1977. It's 34 years old now. The Monster Manual, as less of a manual than a book of suggestions. Now, that doesn't mean I'm going to change every single monster in the book, because that would be a monumental Herculean task, and it's really just not necessary. However, I do treat it as something that I can freely alter. I can look at any monster in the book and say, I'm going to change the stats on this. Some things may just be really simple, where I'm going to treat all hobgoblins as, classed individuals, so they can be magic users and fighters and clerics and all this kind of stuff. But in the other sense, I may have trolls that turn out to be, four-armed and breathe fire, and the only way you can kill them is to freeze them and then cast Cure Disease on their frozen bodies. And this is something that the players won't know, and they'll have to figure out. And to me, as a player, that's a lot of fun, because it no longer is a stat block. It's this, oh my god, what is it? What are we going to do? I hope we get out of here alive. And to me, that makes the game a lot more fun. Now, it's funny, I play old D&D, so we don't have things like Knowledge Arcana and Knowledge Nature. But I've been playing with some people that are used to, 3 or Pathfinder or 3.5, and so they'll come up against a monster, and I'll kind of describe what it looks like, but I won't say, well, this is a troll, this is a cockatrice, this is whatever. And one of my players will say, well, can I do a Knowledge Arcana? He's a magic user. And I'm like, you know what, sure, why not? And I'll think, well, geez, if he rolls a 17, sure, then I'll tell him some information about it. And this particular campaign is kind of weird because, the shtick is, if you will, a magic user 1,000 years ago put up these barriers over this small part of the world that the campaign sort of starts in. So people just haven't been exposed to this kind of stuff anymore. They don't know what these monsters are. It's just all rumors and whatnot. Now these barriers have failed, so the monsters are kind of coming back in. And this is kind of neat because, as a magic user, maybe he gets to add +4 to whatever D20 roll. And maybe I just out of on the fly said you got to roll an 18 or better, total. And he gets to add a little bit more because, of course, he's been spending his life studying that sort of stuff. Whereas the fighter in the party, he may just be like, oh, looks scary, let's kill it. That's kind of neat. And for the cleric, maybe if it's a demon, I'll let him roll something. And that's even if we're playing old school D&D, I don't see anything wrong with that sort of roll. But you should have a lot of fun with monsters in your games. You should make them up all the time. I steal them from websites. I steal them from all over the place. I use every single monster manual I've ever seen and try to like get some ideas out of. And even just, take stuff out of movies, books, whatever, and stat it up and throw it at your players and scare the heck out of them.